Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 23rd of January 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's afternoon session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on, guys, is the DAX. Now looking at this one here, very interesting. So I was talking about this one here a while ago, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this upside support line, and basically we're having this nice rebound from it now. Yep, the index managed to retrace lower, but kind of failed to drop below the psychological 11,000 level, and now it's kind of trying to push higher. Certainly, still we will remain somewhat cautious on this one. We still need to see a nice good pop above the 11,180 level, and this way we could then start targeting much higher levels. And of course, this is where we will aim initially for the 11,330 or even going higher, because above that we do have this downside resistance line taken from the highs of the 15th of June last year. So in a way it could provide some good resistance for this is where the price could stall initially if it decides to travel further up here, of course. And this is where like I said, the price could stall until the bulls and the bears kind of figure out who's going to take control from there. But for now, of course, this is looking more bullish than bearish. But for a better confirmation, for the better upside confirmation, we need to see this nice good pop above the 11,180 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. On the downside, well, if this suddenly drops below this short-term upside support line and goes below the psychological 11,000 level, then yep, we could see further declines. The only thing is that still keep in mind that we're still going to be trading above this very short-term downside resistance line, of course, taken from the highs of this 20, or should I say more of a medium-term actually downside resistance line taken from the highs of the 27th of September. And but in order to kind of start getting more comfortable with lower levels, we would need to see this one traveling all the way here below the 10,825 zone, and only then we will target much lower levels. But for now, it seems that the downside could be slightly off the table. So yep, let's keep an eye on these highs here that I've just mentioned. Jumping into another index quickly, and that's Euro Stoxx. So this one still remains more on the positive side, because even though it has declined today and yesterday, but still it's kind of still remains above this downside resistance line, this medium-term downside resistance line taken from the highs of the 27th of September. So in a way, if it continues to trade here, we could eventually see this nice rebound back up, where it could move back above the 3,125. And then of course we'll aim for the recent highs that we saw here back on Friday. That was approximately around the 3,135 zone. A nice good push above that could open the path towards much higher levels, like the 3,185, or even actually going all the way here towards the 3,260 area, approximately there. So also not far from there, we do have the 200 EMA approaching that area, so keep an eye on it. But then again, like I said, in order to kind of consider these higher levels, we need to see a nice good pop. Initially, of course, nice good reversal from this downside resistance line, and then a nice good pop above these Friday's highs, which were around the 3,135. So keep your eyes on that one. On the downside here, well, it's probably understood, a drop below this downside resistance line could, of course, make the way towards the much lower levels here, but for better confirmation, a drop below this key area of support here near the 3040 level, which was marked here by the lows of the 14th of January. Then you could start aiming for much lower levels. But for now, guys, it seems that the downside could be slightly off the table, but again, anything could happen. We could see this strong move back down here, back below this downside resistance line. So for now, guys, be very cautious, be very careful, continue monitoring these levels that I just mentioned, and let's see how this plays out tomorrow. Jumping into gold now. Gold is initially, of course, this morning it was moving higher, was trying to push higher, of course, where it found resistance near the 1286 zone, 87 approximately there, and right now you can see that just recently it started moving south here. Now it's currently testing this this upside support line, but to be honest, it's going to be a bit of a tentative one, so we can in a way get rid of that. So what's more important here is this the 1279.5 levels and 1279 level. This is what we're going to be keeping an eye on. Further declines, of course, are possible because gold is kind of feeling weak this week. But the next potential area of support here, and if we jump here into the 4-hour chart quickly, just to kind of show you what I'm talking about here. So the next potential area of support could be seen around here, around this upside support line. Some of you might say that it's a bit of a tentative one, but nevertheless, keep an eye on it, because if this continues to travel further down, yep, we could see maybe a test of this 200 EMA here. Of course, looking at the 4-hour chart, a test of this 200 EMA, but if that kind of fails to slow down the fall, then further declines towards this upside support line, this tentative upside support line, could be possible. So for now, guys, be very careful in this one. It is certainly now moving to the downside, but let's see how this plays out. First, it needs to clear some of the key areas of support, and to be honest, actually, let me just correct myself on what I've said previously. This is the level that we're going to keep a close eye on, and that's the 1276 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. This is good. This is going to be for better confirmation. If we do get a break here below this, then yep, we'll aim for much lower levels. But for now, as long as it's kind of stuck here, this is where we'll remain a little bit more on the neutral side. Jumping into GBPUSD now. This one is on fire today. And before we look at the 4-hour, let's have a look at the daily, and you can see how nicely it's pushing higher. And I was talking about this one this morning. Basically, I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this, especially on the psychological 130 level. So you can see that we managed to clear that easily here, and managed to reach the 200 EMA, and also we're now testing the 130.30 zone. So of course, this is very interesting where today's daily candle is going to close, because if it's going to stay here above the 130.30, now of course this could be a good strong bullish indication that we could see further acceleration to the upside, at least maybe towards the 130.75 zone, which was marked here by the highs of the 14th of November last year. So this is a good potential area here of resistance, initial area of resistance, of course, the 130.75. But if this suddenly reverses back down and closes the daily candle below the the psychological 130 level, well, guys, I mean, we should probably be more on the cautious side then, because there could be some maybe more correction to the downside later on. So of course, we do have this tentative upside support line here that could also come into play if this pair decides to reverse back below the 130 level. We could see maybe a drop further down here and a retest of this upside support line. But then again, for now, guys, it seems that the downside could be slightly off the table, and let's see how this daily candle closes today. Jumping into EURGBP now, of course, you probably understood that the GBP is strong, so it's dragging this pair here to the downside, and currently we're aiming for the good potential area of support near the 0.8695. Let's see how this plays out. The last time it was tested here back on 15th of November 2018, and certainly just slightly below that we do have another potential area of support, just about 15 pips lower, and that's the 0.8680 zone. And just kind of remind you what that level was here. That was the low of the 26th of April 2018. So for now, guys, certainly looking at this picture, it doesn't seem to be promising, but nevertheless it is coming close to quite important areas of support here. Of course, like I said, the first one being the 0.8695, and just slightly below that we do have the 0.8680. So let's see how this plays out. There, of course, looking at this, there should be some correction here at some point back to the upside, but of course for now it's difficult to say where exactly that that rebound is going to occur. So for now we're just going to play it safe and just continue aiming for much lower levels. So yep, keep your eyes on that one, guys. Very interesting pair, very interesting developments right now, because like I said, the euro dollar is kind of moving lower, and but the GBPUSD is popping to the upside. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on, and that's GBPCAD. Now with this one here, as you probably understood, the pound is strong today, but in addition to that, the Canadian dollar got weakened here with the worse than expected retail sales that came out from Canada just about 45 minutes, or actually about an hour ago. So basically weaker Canadian dollar and a stronger stronger pound. This is what it's giving us here on GBPCAD. So you can see this nice move higher here. Initially, of course, today we had a rebound from the area here around the 172.65, and now it's trading near the 174 almost 10. So of course it's near the highs that we saw here back on the 1st of January. The next potential here area of resistance, of course, is the 174.55 marked here by the highs of July, near the highs of July last year. So keep your eyes on that one, guys. For now, this is looking quite strong. Let's see if we manage to reach this level here around the 174.55. Certainly, don't forget that at some point we could have this little correction back to the downside. The only thing is, let's see where this this pair is going to find its resistance, where the rate is going to get held. And again, like I said, for now we're keeping a close eye on this little area of resistance here near the 174.55. Let's see how that plays out. And of course, if it continues to get held here near that level, then potentially we could see maybe a bit of a correction back down here, but again, the down move could only I'll repeat myself, could only be seen as a little correction, because for now this pair is looking strong and could continue traveling further up here in the near term, especially if it gets a nice pop here above the 174.55. Okay, guys, I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you want to join me tomorrow morning at my Trader's Espresso, and that's 7 o'clock GMT time. But for now, I hope you will have a fantastic evening, guys. For those who are still trading, be careful, be safe. For those who are finished for today, yep, have a nice evening. Bye-bye.